When we talk about breastfeeding, I find that we focus so much on the moms and the baby, and I absolutely understand it. But what about the dads? Although they're not actively breastfeeding, I find that they play a very vital role that's equally everything. So we need to be having a conversation about this. Interestingly enough, our society tends to label fathers as supporters, which is absolutely crazy because they are essential partners. Like, this is the father of the baby. They equally have as much of an important role as the mothers. So why are we labeling them as supporters? And if you believe in the self-fulfilling prophecy, if you're going to be called a supporter, you're going to slide into the role of a supporter. So I think that narrative needs to be changed, because fathers' roles are way more important than they're being depicted, especially during that newborn phase. And over the last couple of weeks and months, I've interacted with so many moms, and by default, I've also interacted with a lot of newborn dads. And we've had some super interesting conversations. And in today's videos, I'm mainly going to touch base on two conversations that I had where I was like, okay, this needs to be addressed. A couple of weeks, I did record a video which was supposed to be a message to the dads. I didn't come around to posting it. In today's video, I'm just going to try and merge the information that I had in that other video and with the message that I want to bring across today. So a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine reached out to me. Him and his wife had just recently had a baby. Exciting times, right? But he was not reaching out to share this exciting news. He was somewhat in a crisis mode. The baby was not doing okay, had high temperature, was restless. They had gone to the doctor earlier in the day, and the doctor ruled out a bacterial infection, but said it might be a mild cold. But why my friend reached out to me was because his wife had passed out. She was absolutely exhausted. She just needed a break. And he, in that moment, realized that, okay, her passing out like this means that she needs this rest. So I have to step up and show up, but I don't know what to do in this exact moment. So I was very honored that he actually came to me and asked me for help. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that I can help. Of course, I asked a few questions and I was like, okay, undress the baby, just leave the baby in their diaper, make sure you're shirtless, and then just do skin to skin, hold the baby, and then, cover up with your duvet, whatever it is you were covering up with. That's going to help regulate the baby's temperature. That's going to help calm the baby down because he had expressed that the baby was restless. And also, this is the biggest bonus for dads, it also strengthens the bond between father and child. So people often assume skin to skin is only a mother's thing, but it's also really a game changer for dads, especially if we take into consideration that a mom naturally has this bond to baby because you're carrying this baby in your tummy for 9 months. Of course, all things being equal, there are a few exceptions, but this is just an experience that dads don't have. So if you want to build your own strong and fresh bond with your baby, skin to skin is an absolute game changer. I would highly recommend it, especially as a dad. If you want to help your wife, your partner, your girlfriend, you don't know how best to, this is one go-to hack where you can just win in all areas. Mom's gonna be happy, the baby's going to be happy, and you are also going to be happy. And what made this experience even more powerful for me is 2 weeks after this incident, he messaged me from out of the blue and he was like, I just want to thank you so much. Words cannot express how grateful I am. And then this went into testimony. So he's like, of course, I was excited and looking forward to having this baby. I knew I was the father. I've been there for my wife throughout the pregnancy, did everything that a dad is supposed to do. I was there for the baby through labor, and I've just been there from day one, but I didn't really feel like a father. And then he's like, from the time that he started doing skin to skin, life changed. He started building this bond with his child that he never ever imagined. And then he finally truly felt like a father. And what I love about his testimony is that he said, through this new bond that they developed, he could now differentiate the kinds of cries that the baby has. He knows when the baby is crying because they're hungry or because they're agitated or they're tired or whatever it is. And I find that so beautiful. So I would just really love to encourage all newborn dads out there. Don't be scared to do skin to skin with your baby. It's not only something for mom, it's also something for dad, and it's absolutely amazing. Just go for it. And this is just one testimony, right? I am a person that strongly believes in paternal instinct, and I find as moms we have to proactively encourage dads to tap into their paternal instinct. Because I'll use myself as an example, right? First time mom, I had never had a baby before. Interesting thing is that society and partners often assume that mom knows what to do by virtue of being a mother. I had never been a mother before. I had never had a child before of my own. Often I'd be asked what to do, how to do it. And when my son was a newborn, one thing that I just really loved doing was telling his dad, do whatever you feel is best. I'd find that when he tapped into his paternal instinct, he automatically did things correctly and the right way for the baby's needs. Because of course you're the father, right? You already have that bond with the child, as opposed to when I tell you how to do something, I'm going to be watching you doing it. I'm going to be correcting you along the way. I'm going to be scrutinizing how you're doing it. That's going to make you feel uneasy and insecure. And dads, you've got this. These are your babies. Mom is doing it for the first time. You're doing it for the first time. If you trust your instinct and you just do whatever you're doing, with the best intentions, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it right. And I find there's so little that you can actually do wrong. How much can you do wrong when dressing a baby? Really? Are you going to put the socks on inside out? That could happen to adults, and it's not critical, it's not life-threatening. So I just really love to encourage dads to trust themselves. And in the process, I would also love to encourage moms to keep their opinions. There's always going to be a different way to do something, right? If you've asked your partner to do something and they're taking the responsibility, if they haven't asked for your opinion, just keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut, let them do how they are doing it. And everybody's good. And with time, baby's gonna know this is how dad does it, this is how mom does it, and the baby will be absolutely fine. This one is so important, and I know that you've heard this so often in different areas of your life. You can't hear this often enough, and you're gonna be like, not again. But communication is key. It's equally important in your personal relationships, in your work relationships, in your friendships, and in this relationship, navigating the newborn phase. You really have to be on point with your communication. You end up having a situation where partners are living parallel lives because everybody is just in survival mode. You don't have an opportunity to actually ask each other, how are you doing? Is everything okay? What do you need? How can I support you? And sometimes these questions do come up, these conversations are being had, but we also have situations where men are afraid to say how they're really feeling. So from the conversations I've had over the last few months, I find that a lot of dads feel invisible, or they feel like their efforts go unnoticed, or they feel like whatever they do, it's not right anyways. Why bother? Or they feel like they can't do anything right. It's so interesting. But another super interesting one is that they feel like they just don't know what to do with the baby. They don't know. And most women, when you hear a man saying, especially the father of your child saying, I'm overwhelmed with the baby, I don't know what to do with the baby, you immediately go into WTF mode, because it's your child, you should know. That's the expectation, right? The expectation is correct. But just because it exists, it doesn't invalidate how a person is feeling in that moment. So I was actually visiting a friend of mine that recently had a baby, and there we got into a conversation with the husband, and he was saying to me, oh my gosh, I respect all mothers in the world. What you guys do is absolutely amazing. He's like, I'm seeing what my wife is doing day in, day out. It's so crazy, but as a father, I actually don't know what to do. He's like, I don't know what to do with the baby. And I was like, do you know what? That's actually common. And then I told him of a documentary that I had watched, and this psychologist, so I don't remember her name. I'll look it up afterwards. I'm going to put the link of this, I think it was a podcast interview on the Diary of a CEO, with some child psychologist. I'm going to put the link in the comment section and I'm going to pin it. So if you want to watch it after this video, feel free to do so. In a nutshell, and I watched this like 1.5 years or 1 year ago, what the psychologist was basically saying is that babies primarily need the mothers in the first 3 years of their lives. So the age of a child defines how important and how crucial the role of a parent is. Disclaimer, it's not implying that babies don't need their fathers in the first 3 years. It's just that the mom is the primary caregiver in those first 3 years, and most of the baby's needs are met by stuff that the mom can do. And psychologically, a lot of dads are overwhelmed by newborns because they don't know what to do with them. They don't find it fun. You'll find that it's often moms, when moms see babies, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm saying moms, I'm one of those moms. I absolutely love babies. When I'm holding a baby, my heart beats differently. It just like calms down. It brings me in Zen mode. Of course, I don't mean a crying baby. And then guys can't relate to that. They're like, what are you gonna do with a little cute blob? And for fathers, kids become most interesting for them from the age of 3 or 4. So this is when dads can actually start interacting with their children even more. This is when they have enough confidence to say, hey, we're gonna go on a father-son or father-daughter trip. You can have the day off, whatever it is. When a baby is 3 months old, a dad is a bit hesitant to be like, just go. But once they reach that age, dads can start doing fun stuff where the kids are really engaged. And so I'm telling him about this documentary and he says to me, oh my gosh, for the first time I feel seen or heard. And my friend is like, hold up, what do you mean? And he's like, no, but this is what I've been telling you before. They have a conversation. He elaborates how what I'm saying ties in with what he said to her before. She's like, I get it. But then I was like, man, there's just this disconnect and people need to have this conversation and find a healthy way to navigate that. You can have your expectations and your partner can have feelings that don't align with those expectations, and you need to find a way to to fill that gap in a very constructive way together, because I think both should be able to coexist and you should find a way of bringing that somewhat at par. So that was very interesting. And on the communication front, I find that sometimes it's okay to just listen, and sometimes it's just really nice to have somebody to just listen without attempting to fix things. I feel like if you want something fixed, you should explicitly articulate it. But if I table a problem, it's just like I'm sharing it with you. You don't always have to try and fix it because some things just can't be immediately fixed, right? So I just want to wrap this up by highlighting some ways that dads can really step up and show up and be, the essential partners for their wives, girlfriends, partners through this newborn phase that they'll really appreciate. And by the same token, I think moms should also just get into the habit of saying thank you when somebody has helped you with something, even if you feel like it's something that they should be doing. Because if they weren't doing it, you'd have to be the one doing it. So dads, you can take over the diaper changes. One that is absolutely amazing. If you don't co-sleep and the baby wakes up in the middle of the night, dad, you can take the responsibility of getting the baby out of the bed and giving the baby to mom. So mom feeds the baby and she doesn't necessarily have to get out of bed. I know that there are times where I was like, I can't get him. Please bring the baby. I'm too tired. And just having that service of the baby brought to you felt like a life-changing experience. And I was so grateful for that. If you bottle feed your baby, volunteer to do the bottle so mom doesn't have to do it. Protect mom's rest. If your partner needs a break, you also need a break, right? But the physical toll of this whole breastfeeding thing has on a mom's body is different to what it has on the dad's body. So if she needs rest, find ways to loop that in your schedule. She's going to be absolutely grateful for it. It's just so unbelievable how many moms would be like, oh, I'm so happy. He gave me 2 hours to rest. And it's like, 2 hours is actually nothing, but 2 hours feels good. or sometimes it's just like, yeah, I have however much time to do my own things. And you know, a lot of moms lose their identity during this newborn phase because they're no longer used to having time for themselves, whether it's just time to have a shower in peace, read a book, time to go to the drugstore and pick the exact products that you need, not, you know, whatever it is, your self-care routine, whatever that looks like. A lot of moms lose that during, you know, this newborn mom phase, which is why it sometimes becomes very difficult to getting back to yourself once you're done with the newborn phase. So dads, we really need your support in that area for us to be able to, you know, to sustain that in a certain way. And one that's really, 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 really nice is if dads could be gatekeepers, you know, when there's visitors or when there's too much noise. You know, sometimes mom is just tired. If you know that I'm going to be tired after 1 hour, you know, sometimes you don't want to be rude and say, hey, can you guys leave now because I'm tired? Because people can easily say, oh, it's her hormones. But there, if dad steps in and dad finds a way to take care of that situation, we're always super grateful for that. And all this support from the dads also feeds into creating an amazing atmosphere for the breastfeeding journey. I know in this video, I'm really focusing on what dads can do or should do. And this is because of the conversations I've had in the past. So this is somewhat supposed to be a tool that can actually help you navigate being a dad, especially in that newborn phase. Some dads feel left out, or they feel like there's nothing that they can do because mom is breastfeeding and dad is just, you know, standing around or feeling useless. So this video is supposed to be a tool that helps you pick a few things that you can do that work for you in your situation. And also, I'm very well aware that a lot of dads are really trying their best. And although they're trying their best, they feel like, you know, that's not seen, that's not acknowledged. So I hope there's something, you know, I mentioned in this video that can help you in your dad journey and, you know, make things better for the whole family unit. For the dads, you might not always know how to help, but your support means more than you can think. So keep supporting us. We truly appreciate it and enjoy this journey. For those moms watching this, drop a comment below. What support from your partner was a game changer when you were going through the newborn baby phase? And for the dads, if you feel like it, comment on, you know, the challenges that you experienced, how you overcame them. And if there's something I particularly mentioned in this video that you found interesting, drop it in the comment section. I look forward to hearing from you guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you enjoyed it, and see you next week. Bye.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.